All praises, honor, and glory go to the Most High God Yahweh, and we do so by the way of His Son Yahweh Shai, who the world calls Christ. We are back at it again, the dynamic duo, the teen and the titan, holding it down for the Lord with an iron sword, cutting them up. Man, we back at it again, man. You good?
Man. Yeah,
All
man.
right, I'm making sure you in the spirit, man.
Good.
You good?
Yeah.
Back at it again, man. If you thought we fell off, slap yourself, man. Okay? You don't like nobody.
We bounced back like a bouncy ball.
Yeah, all that, right?
All right.
Bounce back like a slinky.
Now bounce back like a bouncy ball.
Yeah, that too. That part, right? We back, man. We back, man. This is it. This is what we're finna get into. You seen the title? Boom. The feats of dedication. Not the feats you walk on, right?
Yeah.
Not the stinky feet you walk on. Not the bunnies and corns. Stepping on thorns.
I don't know about that.
Feats of dedication, right? So feat, what is a feat? We got the definition right here. Feat, a deed notable especially for courage, right? The brave feats of ordinary foot soldiers, right? And we are, under the power of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, we are soldiers of the Most High, right? Or an act or product with skill, endurance, or ingenuity. We wanna focus on endurance, an act or product of skill, endurance, or ingenuity. Enduring to keep the commandments, right? Enduring to the end, right? So what's dedication? The quality of being dedicated or committed to a task or purpose, right? The task is what? Keeping the faith in Christ and the commandments, right? Feeding your people, right? Whenever, like it says, in season or out of season, right? So that's what we're talking about. The feats of dedication, and we're doing this in the spirit of the feast of dedication, which is around the winter time, around December, usually, right? So that's what we get into. You ready?
Yep.
All right. Let's see. Sliding down. Boom. Go ahead.
First Maccabee chapter 2, 49. Now when the time drew near that the
That Mattathias.
Mattathias should die.
Right. So Mattathias is the father, right? He's the one who, the whole dedication was started off of the whole temple rebellion against the Greeks. Okay, go ahead.
He said unto his sons, now hath pride and rebuke God strength in the time of destruction and the wrath of indignation.
Right.
Now therefore, my sons, be zealous for the
Khan.
law.
Right, right. Be ye zealous, right? Be dedicated. Be ready to go all in, right? Because he was going all in, right? And this is one of the greatest examples of a pep talk right here. But go ahead.
And give your lives for the covenant of your fathers.
Hmm.
Call to remembrance what acts our fathers did in their time.
Right. So he's saying, remember the acts of the fathers before you, right? Right. It says, and give your lives for the covenant of our fathers, right? Be ready to die for what you believe in. That's dedication right there. Go ahead.
So shall ye receive great honor and an everlasting name.
Hmm.
Was not Abraham found faithful in temptation, and it was imputed unto him for righteousness? Joseph, in the time of his distress, kept the commandment and was made Lord of Egypt.
Hold on. I just skipped over verse 52. Hold on. It says, was not Abraham found faithful in temptation? Hey, this is always like this is the most classic scripture that everybody should remember. Just like when we're saying, just like Sirach 2:1, I believe, where it says, if you come to follow me, I'm paraphrasing, if you come to follow the Lord, right, prepare yourself for temptation, right? You're gonna go through something, right? But you gotta stay what? Dedicated, right? Go ahead.
Finds our But Phineas, our father, is being zealous and fervent, obtained the covenant of an everlasting priesthood.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus, fulfilling the word, was made a judge in Israel. Caleb, for bearing witness before the congregation, received the heritage of the land. David, for being merciful, possessed the throne of an everlasting kingdom.
So like I was gonna say 55 is not Yahweh. That goes back to Joshua. Go ahead.
Elias, for being zealous and fervent, for the law was taken up unto heaven.
Mm-hmm.
And I and
Ananias.
Ananias, Azarias, and Mizael, by believing, were saved out of the flame.
Right. So these are all people who stayed dedicated in the face of adversity, right? These are all classic stories in the Bible, in the prophets. You've seen this before, right? Go ahead.
Daniel, for his innocency, was delivered from the mouth of lions.
Mm-hmm.
And thus consider ye throughout all ages, and men that put their trust in him shall be overcome.
Right. So if you put your trust in the Most High, you will not be overcame, right? You can't be defeated, right? It's that armor. Put on the whole armor of the Lord. How can you lose, right? It's like having, the best weapons against any military, right? I think there's a scripture too. I don't remember the address, but paraphrasing that the Lord, anybody who follows the Lord, hold on, let me see. Let's pause out. Hold on. Right here. I believe this is it. Psalms 37:25. It says, I have been young, I am now old, yet I have not seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed uh
Bread.
begging bread. Right? He is ever merciful and lendeth, and his seed is blessed. Depart from evil and do good and dwell forevermore. Right? So uh keep your faith, keep the commandments, right? And you will not be forsaken. That's being righteous. All right. So this is the ultimate pep talk coming from Mattathias, right? It's like you in the middle of the game and coach is giving you the talk, you might be down, right? You might be down, but it's halftime. Coach is giving you the talk of your life, right? Get out there and be a dog. All right. First Max 3.
First Maccabees chapter 3:13. Now when Saran, a prince of the army of Syria,
Syria.
Syria, heard say that Judas had gathered unto him a multitude in company of the faithful to go out with him to war. He said, I will get me a name and honor in the kingdom, for I will go fight with Judas and them that are with him, who despise the kingdom's commandment. So he made him ready to go up, and there went with him a mighty host of the ungodly to help him, and to be avenged of the children of Israel. 16. And when he came near to the going up of Bethhoron,
Mhm.
Judas went forth to meet him with a small company,
Right.
who, when they saw the host coming to meet him, said unto Judas, how shall we be able, being so few, to fight against so great a multitude and so strong, seeing we are ready to faint with fasting all this day?
Right. So they had wavering faith, right?
18. Unto whom Judas answered, it is no hard matter for many to be shut up in the hands of a few.
Right.
And with the God of heaven it is all one, to deliver with a great multitude or a small company.
Right. But you have to be dedicated, right? Because we read in Psalms 37 that he's not going to forsake the righteous, right? Well, go ahead. Because they're fighting for a good thing. They're fighting for the right to sacrifice in the temple and keep the commandments of God, you know? So go ahead.
For the victory of the battle standeth not in the multitude of a host,
Right.
but
So, right. Hold on. So the victory is not how many people you got on the battlefield, right? Because The victory is through the Most High God, right? The victory is the Most High God's will. Go ahead.
But strength cometh from heaven.
There you go. Go ahead.
They come against us in much pride and iniquity to destroy us,
Right. Pride comes before the fall. Go ahead.
in our wives and children, and to spoil us.
Right. So imagine someone's coming to kill your children, your wives, and to get rid of your entire name as a nation off the face of the earth. Right. You're gonna fight. Right. In the power and spirit of the Most High Yahweh. Go ahead.
But we fight for our lives and our laws.
There it is. We fight for our lives and our laws. Right. Go ahead.
Wherefore the Lord himself will overthrow them before our face. And as for you, be ye not afraid of them. Now, as soon as he had left off speaking,
Mm-hmm.
he leapt suddenly.
Yeah, he leaped suddenly, right?
He leaped suddenly upon them,
Mm-hmm.
and so Saran and his hosts were overthrown before him.
Right. So he got on a helmet top, right? He got on a noggin piece, man. Right? Go ahead.
And they pursued them, and they pursued them from the going down of Bethron unto the plain, where were slain about 800 men of them, and the residue fled into the land of the Philistines.
Mm-hmm.
Then began the fear of Judas and his brethren, and an exceeding great dread to fall upon the nations round about them, insomuch as his fame came unto the king, and all nations talked of the battles of Judas.
They couldn't fight against the Most High. It was too powerful for them. They was too dedicated. They had the Most High Yahweh behind them, pushing the sword for them. Really, the Most High is pushing the hard line. You know, that's what's pushing the line. We're just pawns and tools for His word to go out. That's it. And they thought, like, the prince thought he was finna do something, right? He thought he was gonna get him a good name and honor in the kingdom, right? He wasn't. He got nothing but bloodshed and misery, right? So these are examples of being dedicated, right? The real dedication, right? This all led up to the Feast of Dedication. So now we're going to look at some examples of not being dedicated to the Lord, because you got to look at both sides. You got to have both sides, so your path is clear. You know what I mean? What's the phrase? Oh, to be forearmed, or Salakia, to be forewarned is to be forearmed, right? So if you're warned of what to do and what not to do, you're armed for the battle to make the right decision, right? It's just like wisdom, the knowledge of wisdom. Oh, Slacky, the knowledge of wickedness is not wisdom, right? The knowledge of wickedness is not wisdom. The performance of knowledge is wisdom. Performing the knowledge is wisdom, right? Because you can know what the right thing to do is, but still take the wrong path. You know what the right thing to do, but you choose to do the wrong thing. That's not wisdom. Knowing the right thing to do and doing the right thing, that's wisdom. All right, go ahead. First Max 1.
First Maccabees chapter 1 and 11. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men, persuaded many, saying, let us go and make covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow.
Right. So tell me, JP, what are they being dedicated to the Lord?
Who?
These wicked men who went
No,
out. And why not?
because
Why
they're wicked?
Yeah, because they're wicked, yeah, but they're doing something. They're doing something.
They're making covenant with the heathen.
Exactly, right? They already have a covenant with the Lord, but now they're going out to try to make a covenant with the heathen because they say they have much sorrow, right? But they're having much sorrow because they're wicked men, not because they don't have a covenant with the heathen, right? They're not dedicated. That's the problem. And wicked men are going to always look outside of what the root cause is to try to fix their problem. The root cause is you not being dedicated, you breaking the commandments, you being wicked, you being unrighteous. All right, verse 12.
So this device pleased them well. The concern of the people were so forward to help advance or promote
Okay, Salak.
to help.
So forward, this means to help, advance, or promote, right? So they're helping to advance or promote the thought of making a covenant with the heathen round about them. Okay, go ahead.
Herein, they went to the king, who
Hmm.
gave them a license to do after the ordinances of the heathen.
Right. So they went to the king and made, the covenant they wanted, a law or whatnot, and they gave them licenses to, be like the Greeks, right? When in Rome, do as the Romans. Well, this is before that, but go ahead.
Whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem according to the customs of the heathen,
Right. Keep going.
and made themselves uncircumcised and forsook the holy covenant.
Right. So forsaking the holy covenant is what made them uncircumcised, right? In the spirit, in the heart, right? So they shifted their dedication from the Lord to the king. And that was the problem, right? This is why this whole dedication thing happened, right? Because these wicked men, right, turn their back on the Most High. This is why we have the Feast of Dedication. This is the beginning of it. Go ahead.
14.
No. 15. That was it? Oh, right here. And joined.
Oh, and joined themselves to the heathen,
Hmm.
and were sold to do mischief.
Right. And we're sold to do mischief, right? Sold under sin. Just like Paul said, right? Carnal, sold under sin. Hmm. After this, we see more evil come upon the people, right? They start taking over the temple because they thought it was good, right? It's like, oh, but Mattathias and his sons, they weren't having it. All right, so more examples of people not being dedicated to the Lord. 1 Samuel 15, 1 through 24. And we know this is talking about. Go ahead.
1 Samuel chapter 15, verse 1 through 24. Samuel also said unto Saul, The Lord sent me to anoint thee to be king over his people,
Hmm.
over Israel, and therefore hearken thou unto the voice of the words of the God of the Lord. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, I remember that which Amalek did to Israel, how he laid wait for him in the way when he came up from Egypt.
Right, so while they were taking their path, that's self-explanatory. The Amaleks were trying to get on them, right? Trying to take them out, you know, sneakily. Go ahead. If that's a word. Is sneakily a word? Sneakily. Hey, man,
It's like gooder.
we from the Bay Area, man. We make up words as we go. Go ahead.
Now go and smite Amalek, and utterly destroy all that they have, and spare them not, but slay both man and woman, infant and suckling, ox and sheep, camel and ass.
Okay, so what did he say? He said, "Go and kill everything walking, right? Everything with a pulse gotta go." Okay, go ahead.
And Saul gathered the people together and numbered them in Talam,
Hmm.
200,000 footmen and 10,000 men of Judah. And Saul came to the city of Amalek and lay wait in the valley.
Right, right. So what do you think, JP? Do you think Saul did what he supposed to do?
No.
All right, go ahead. Verse 6.
And Saul said unto the Canaanites,
Oh, I think it's the Kenites.
Kenites,
Yeah.
go and depart, get you down from among the Amalekites,
Hmm.
lest I destroy you with them. For ye shewed kindness to all the children of Israel when they came up out of Egypt. So the Canaanites departed from among the Amalekites.
Yeah, let's get the hell up out of here. That's what he said, right? He's like, it's time to go.
And Saul smote the Amalekites from
I think,
Havilah
uh-huh.
until thou comest to Shur,
Hmm.
that is over against Egypt. And he took Agag, the king of the Amalekites,
Right.
alive
So hold on. He already made his first mistake. Right? What did the Lord say?
to kill
To
everybody.
kill everybody, right?
and utterly destroyed all the people with the edge of the sword.
Did he destroy all the people?
No, he left the king alive.
I think he probably left some more people alive too. Go ahead.
But Saul and the people spared Agag and the best of the sheep, and of the oxen, and of the fatlings, and of the lambs, and all that was good, and would not utterly destroy them, but everything that was vile and refused, that they destroyed utterly.
So everything that they thought was useful was so like everything that they thought wasn't useful,
They destroyed.
they destroyed, right? And they kept what they thought, hey, this is good,
This is
to
good.
use, right?
Oh, this is good lamb.
Right, good lamb, right? Ain't nothing wrong with this lamb, right? He's like, you throwing this away? He's like, that's what the Lord said. You're supposed to be dedicated to the words of the Lord. Just if the Lord said it gotta go, it gots to go, right? Where we at? 10?
Yep. Then came the word of the Lord unto Samuel, saying, It repenteth me that I have set up Saul to be king, for he is turned back from following me, and had not performed my commandments, and it grieved Samuel.
Right,
And he cried unto the Lord all night.
right. So he wasn't dedicated, man. I don't. It's crazy that Saul, being the man that he was, still can fall short, right? A mighty man, right? Chosen to be the king. It shows that we all slip at some point in time, and we all got to pay for our choices, right? There's always consequences, but you got to repent and come back to it. You got to repent and come back and rededicate yourself, like we rededicate the temple, right? You are the temple. Rededicate yourself to the Lord. All right, go ahead. 12. I'm gonna scroll down. All right, go ahead.
And when Samuel rose early to meet Saul in the morning, it was told Samuel, saying, Saul came to Carmel, and behold, he set him up a place, and is gone about, and passed on, and gone down to Gilgal.
All right, go ahead.
And Samuel came to Saul. And Saul said unto him, Blessed be thou of the Lord. I have performed the commandment of the Lord.
Hold on, did he?
No.
He didn't. Go ahead.
And Samuel said, What meaneth then this bleating of the sheep in mine ears?
Right, they're hearing the sheep.
Meh.
Yeah, that exactly. Yep, go ahead.
And the lowing of the oxen which I hear.
Mm-hmm.
And Saul said, They have brought them from the Amalekites. For the people spared the best of the sheep and of the oxen to sacrifice unto the Lord thy God. And the rest we have utterly destroyed.
Hold on. So they they brought it. Okay, let's say this. The thought was right. The thought was a good thought because they want to sacrifice to the Lord, right? But what's better than sacrifice?
Listening to the Lord's commandments.
Exactly.
'Cause
Listening,
I feel
listening
like
to the Lord's. Go ahead. I want to hear this.
if you already if you kill the sheep, that's already like a sacrifice to the Lord because you're doing His commandment.
Exactly. That's true. And that's a perspective I didn't see. Because I was thinking like this. You wouldn't have to sacrifice no lamb if you're keeping the commandments anyway. So you don't need them, right?
Uh,
What's the point? If you dedicate it to the Lord 100%, you don't need no lamb. We're not sacrificing nothing unless it's for food, unless it's Passover, right? Or whatever animals we need for the Sabbath or the daily sacrifices, whatever, right? But they're grabbing sheep like they're, you know, contemplating they're going to be sinning in the future. That's the wrong thought to have already. Because the Lord going to provide what he wants no matter what. He gonna provide for you no matter what. So go ahead.
16.
Yeah.
And Samuel said unto Saul, Stay, and I will tell thee what the Lord has said to me this night. He said unto him, Say on. And Samuel said, When thou waste little in thine own sight, waste thou not made the head of the tribes of Israel, and the Lord anointed the king over Israel.
Right, right. Hold on. It says Samuel said, when thou was little in thine own sight. So when he thought little of himself, when he thought he was a nobody, a nothing, he wasn't going to be nothing. He was made head of the tribes of Israel, right? Come on, man. That's crazy. All right. 18.
And the Lord sent thee on a journey, and said, Go and utterly destroy uh, the sinners, the Amalekites, and fight against them until they be consumed.
Right. Consumed, gone, right? Swallowed up. 19.
Wherefore then didst thou not obey the voice of the Lord, but didst fly upon the spoil, and didst evil in the sight of the Lord?
Right. What does a fly do upon spoiled foods and whatnot? They jump on it, right? That's what they did, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And Saul said unto Samuel, Yea, I have obeyed the voice of the Lord, and have gone the way which the Lord hath sent me.
Hold on, hold on. He said he obeyed the voice of the Lord. You must have a comprehension problem or something, man. Go ahead.
And have brought Agag the king of Amalek, and
Hmm.
have utterly destroyed the Amalekites.
He didn't. The Most High didn't ask for the king of Amalek at all. Go ahead.
But the people took of the spoil sheep and oxen, the chief of the things which should have been utterly destroyed, to sacrifice unto the Lord thy God in Gilgal.
Hmm.
And Samuel said, Hath the Lord as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as in obeying the voice of the Lord? Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to hearken than the fat of rams.
Right. It's like I was saying earlier, right? You wouldn't even. The sacrifices are just a placeholder for the sins you created. The Most High would rather you not sin. Just obey the voice, and we won't even need these sacrifices. It's unnecessary. That's why I was saying it's almost like they're trying to tell the future that well we're gonna be sinning anyway, so let's bring some lamb home. You're like, no, it's not how you want to think. You always want to be prepared to keep the commandments, and you want to put your best foot forward to doing that, right? 23.
But rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry, because thou hast rejected the word of the Lord. He hath also rejected thee from being king. And Saul said unto Samuel, I have sinned, for I have transgressed the commandment of the Lord and thy words, because I have feared the people and obeyed
Hold
their
on,
voice.
hold on. And Saul said unto Samuel, I have sinned, I have transgressed the commandment of the Lord and thy words, because I feared the people and obeyed their voice. He's fearing the people. He's fearing who can only take his life, right? He's not fearing who can take his life and his spirit or his soul, right? So he's going off right there, right? He's not being dedicated to the Lord, right? Right? He's not
Mm-hmm.
showing the feats of dedication. A feat of dedication, right? Let's go back to the top.
Courage,
Courage, right?
product of skill,
Hmm.
endurance, or
Ingenuity,
ingenuity.
right? Well,
There
we're
you
not
go.
even, this is like inventing something or making something work. But courage, right? You should have had the courage to say, hey, if anybody got a problem with killing all these lambs, you know, yeah, we're gonna have to put you down then because you're gonna cause a bigger sin within Israel. Because, like I said, rebellion is like witchcraft, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that it on that?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so after this, we see more evil come upon Saul, manifesting in the spirit of hate and envy against David, right? Right? I don't think he admitted to transgressing, but it doesn't say anything about him repenting. So who knows, right? But anyway, uh the spirit of rebellion, the spirit of hate and envy was all around him, right? So examples of dedication to the Lord, right? The ultimate, well, I wouldn't say the ultimate example of dedication, but one of the greatest examples of dedication would be Job and his
So
well, not his son, but
so
his
his
situation,
works.
right? Yeah, right. So it's a long read. We're gonna skip around. It's a lot. There's no way we can really break down everything that Job was talking about with his friends or going back and forth and his friends getting yoked up and it's a lot to go through. So we're gonna kind of trying to summarize it the best we can. It's a lot. We're gonna jump around though. Job 1.
Job 1 and verse 1.
We're only gonna read the blue. Okay,
All right.
go ahead.
There was a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job, and that man was perfect and upright and one that feared God and eschewed evil.
Eschewed.
Oh,
I believe it's eschewed. Yeah.
eschewed evil. And there were born unto him 7 sons and 3 daughters. His substance also was 7,000 sheep and 3,000 camel and 500 yoke of oxen and 500 she asses, a very great household, so that this man was the greatest of all the men of the East.
Right. So we're trying to establish what this man had now. We're establishing that Job was a great man. He was perfect in the eyes of the Lord, right? Fearing God and walking in all his commandments. That's how he was perfect, right? He was 100% dedicated, right? And he was a very rich man. His substance was 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, etc., right? Very great household, right? Okay, and then if you know the story, his sons are celebrating their birthdays, basically everyone his day, right? If you don't believe that everyone his day is his birthday, let's go to Job chapter 3. Let me just prove that is a birthday. Boom. Okay, Job chapter 3, verse 1. After this opened Job his mouth and cursed his day. Cursed his day, right? We're gonna get the whole context. And Job spake and said, let the day perish wherein I was born. See that? So in biblical times, his day is the day that you were born. Your day, his day, her day, right? That's a birthday. That's a day you were born. Okay? So if we read 4 to 5, basically they were feasting on his day. Everyone his day, they had a feast. Verse 6, JP. Go ahead. And that's breaking the commandment, right? Because that's following the ways of the heathen, the ways of Egypt. Go ahead.
Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord.
So I could present themselves.
Oh, present themselves before the Lord. And Satan came also among them.
Right. So Satan is a son of God, right? That's what it says. Satan came before them, right? So the angels are coming to present themselves. Go ahead.
And the Lord said unto Satan, whence comest thou? Then Satan answered the Lord and said, from going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down it, of up and down in it. And the Lord said unto Satan, hast thou considered my servant Job?
Job.
Job?
Salakia. So I wanted to say this. They say Satan, this is a sidebar. They say Satan has been kicked out of heaven, right? This is just to make you think. They say Satan has been kicked out of heaven, right? He's fighting and warring against God, basically, right? So how is the Lord calling for his sons to be presented before him, and he's asking Satan questions? Where you been at? What you been doing? Have you considered my servant Job, right? All these things. So how can he be against the Lord, but then taking orders from the Lord? You see? This is why dogma and religion sometimes is, well,
You said dogma?
dogma. Yeah, just give what dogma means. Dogma, something held as an established opinion, right? Dogma. So it's an opinion that Satan is been kicked out of heaven and fights against the angels and God with his demons. That's religious dogma. That's an opinion. That's not fact. The fact is Satan is controlled by the Most High. Satan doesn't move without the Most High's hand, right? Satan doesn't move without the Most High saying, "Go and do this, go and do that." Right? This is your job. Do this. Right? That's a sidebar. Go ahead, JP. You're right here.
That there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and upright man, one that feareth God and escheweth evil.
Salak, escheweth.
Escheweth evil. Then Satan answered the Lord and said, Doeth Job fear God for naught? Hast not thou made an hedge about him?
Right. So he's saying, doth Job fear God for nothing? Right? He's saying has thou not made an hedge around about him? So it's like, have you not protected him? Have you not, a hedge is like, a hedge of the bushes, a hedge. It kind of like protects the lawn, you know what I mean? It's like a barrier, basically, right? So he fears you because you protect him, right? That's what he's saying. Go ahead.
And about his house, and about all that he hath on every side, that has blessed the work of his hands,
Mm-hmm.
and his substance is increased in the land. But put forth thine hand now, and touch all that he hath, and he will curse thee to thy face.
Right. Look at this. It says, Satan is saying to the Most High, put forth thine hand now, right? So it's not Christ moving on, it's not Salakia. It's not Satan moving on his own term. It's the hand of the Most High that's really moving everything. Think of Satan like a red marker. Satan is a red marker, right? But that marker doesn't make any marks until the hand of the Most High moves that marker across that paper. You know what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's what Satan is. Go ahead.
And the Lord said unto Satan, Behold, all that he hath is in thy power. Only upon himself put not forth thine hand. So Satan went forth from the presence of the Lord.
Right. So the Lord gave him the okay. You know what I'm saying? So if he's basically saying, if you think that he's going to turn on me if I take everything that he has, right? And you think he's going to curse me to my face, he's saying, well, you know, do what you do, just don't touch him, right? That's what it said, right?
Mm-hmm.
Only put upon himself, put not forth thine hand, right? So if you read on, he kills his sons because they were doing what? Birthdays, right? Idolatry. They were celebrating themselves, right? So they died, right? And only ones were left were some of the servants who were able to relay the message, right? And what did Job do?
Then Job arose and rent his mantle and shaved his head and fell down upon the ground and worshipped and said, Naked came I out of my mother's womb,
Mm-hmm.
and naked shall I return thither.
Right.
The Lord gave, and the Lord hath taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. In all this Job sinned not, nor charged God foolishly.
In all this, Job sinned
Oh,
not.
in all this Job sinned not, nor charged God foolishly.
Right. So he didn't turn his back on the Lord, right? He lost his whole family and all his oxen, all his, his sheep, his camels, his goats, whatever, his cattle. He lost everything, right? And he still worshiped. He still stayed dedicated, right? He sinned not, nor charged God foolishly, right? Go ahead. Job chapter 2. So Satan's gonna come back again, right? And he's gonna say, "Hey, let's put a little extra woo amp on it, right? That wasn't enough." Go ahead.
Again, there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them to present himself before the Lord.
Right.
And the Lord said unto Satan, From whence comest thou? And Satan answered the Lord and said, From going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down it.
Mm-hmm.
And the Lord said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and upright man, one that feareth God and escheweth evil, and still he holdeth fast his integrity. Although thou movest me against him to destroy him without cause. And Satan answered the Lord and said, Skin for skin, yeah, all that a man hath will he give for his life. But pull forth thine hand now, and touch his bone and flesh, and he will curse thee to thy face.
Right. It says, all a man hath, he will give for his life. Right. Right. So like verse 3, he still calls him an upright and perfect man. Right. He didn't sin yet. Right. Fear God, eschewed evil, and still holds fast to his integrity. Okay. Still dedicated. Right. He didn't backslide. Right. Or become a hypocrite. Verse 4, Satan answering says, Skin for skin, yea, all that a man hath will he give for his life. Right. So he's basically saying if you take enough from him, he's gonna do whatever he can to save his own, right, his own backside, right? It says, so the Lord said, put forth thy hand now and touch his bone and his flesh, and he will salak you. Satan said this, verse 5. Satan said, put forth thine hand and touch his bone and flesh, and he will curse thee to thy face. So he basically saying if you touch him physically, because remember, he didn't touch him physically, he only touched his assets, right? His property, basically, and his family. He killed his family, but they were sinners anyway, right? So touch him physically, and he'll curse thee to thy face. And the Lord said unto Satan, Behold, he is in thine hand, but do not kill him, save his life. All right, verse 7.
So went Satan forth from the presence of the Lord, and smote Job with sore boils from the sole of his foot unto his crown.
Right. So boils are like, blisters, right? Go ahead.
And he took him a potsherd to scrape himself withal, that he sat down among the ashes. Then said his wife unto him, Doest thou still remain thine integrity?
Mhm.
Curse God and die.
Right. So the wife came and said, You still believe in this God? She said, curse God and die. Right? He should have threw that pot at her. Right? Verse 10.
But he said unto her, Thou speakest as one of the foolish women speaketh.
Right. She said, You a foolish female. Go ahead.
What? Shall we receive good at the hand of God, and shall we not receive evil? In all this did not Job sin with his lips.
Right. Because remember how we're saying, if you come to serve the Lord, prepare thyself, right? You're gonna go through things. You got to be tried in the fire, right? So after all this happened, Job never turned on the Most High, right? He stayed dedicated. He might have said some things which he shouldn't have said, right? Or some things he didn't understand. He thought he understood the Lord, and he got correction for that, right? But he never turned from the Most High, right? Job 41 through 14.
Job chapter 40, verse 1. Moreover, the Lord answered Job and said, Shall he that contendeth with the Almighty instruct him?
Right. So you that asking the Most High, why is this and why is that? You're gonna instruct the Most High, right? Go ahead.
He that reproveth God, let him answer it.
Right. If you can reprove the Most High, answer this. Go ahead.
Then Job answered the Lord and said, Behold, I am vile.
Right. So he took his proper his proper seat and said, I am vile, right? Go ahead.
What shall I answer thee?
Right,
I will lay mine hand upon upon my mouth.
right. He's gonna shut up, right? He's gonna close his mouth. Go ahead.
Once have I spoken, but I will not answer. Yea, twice, but I will proceed no further.
Right. I'm done. It's your will, Lord. Right? Go ahead.
Then answered the Lord unto Job out of the whirlwind and said, Gird up thy loins, now like a man. I will demand of thee, and declare thou unto me. Wilt thou also disannul my judgment?
That's like to put it away. Right?
Wilt thou condemn me, thou that thou mayest be righteous?
It's like you're gonna take my judgment away and condemn me so you can be righteous? Like you, the man who I made and brought up and made you great and brought you down, and then you not knowing gonna make you greater than what you were before? You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
Hast thou an am oh hast thou an arm like God?
Like an arm is like power, strength, right? Go ahead.
Or canst thou thunder with a voice like on him?
No, you can't, right? Go ahead.
Deck thyself now with majesty and excellency, and array thyself with glory and beauty. Cast abroad the rage of thy wrath, and behold every one that is proud, and abase him.
Right, right. Cast abroad the rage of thy wrath. Right? Go ahead.
Look on every one that is proud, and bring him low, and tread down the wicked in their place.
Right. He's saying, can you do this? Go ahead.
Hide them in the dust together, and bind their faces in secret. Then I will also confess unto thee that thine own right hand can save thee.
Right. It's like until you can do all these things, right? Then he will confess, right? So the Most High is yoking him up, basically. Basically, tell him you don't have no power. You don't even have the power to save your own life from these trials and tribulations that I'm putting you through. You can't even save someone else. You can't even condemn someone else. Job 42, like this is such a deep book, man. This is not something that you can just break down in a half an hour or an hour. Go ahead, Job 42:1.
Job 42:1. Then Job answered the Lord and said, I know that thou canst do everything, and that no thought can be withholden from thee.
Mm-hmm.
Who is he that hideth counsel without knowledge? Therefore have I uttered that I understood not, things too wonderful for me, which I knew not. Here I beseech thee, and I will speak. I will demand of thee, and declare thou unto me. I have heard of thee by the hearing of the ear, but now mine eye seeth thee. Wherefore I abhor myself and repent in dust and ashes.
Right, right. So he repents for questioning the Lord, basically. Right. He's repenting, right? So he's still that perfect man, right? Verse 10.
And the Lord turned the captivity of Job when he prayed for his friends.
Mm-hmm.
Also the Lord gave Job twice as much as he had before.
Right, right. So hold on. He stayed dedicated to the Lord, right? That's first and foremost, right? Not only that, he prayed for his friends, right? He not only did he pray for himself, he prayed for his friends also, right? That's brotherhood, right? It's important. Okay, go ahead. I believe you're 11.
11. Then came there unto him all his brethren, and all his sisters, and all they had been of his acquaintance before, and did not eat bread with him in his house. And they bemoaned him, and, and comforted him over all the evil that the Lord had brought upon him. Every man also gave him a piece of money, and every one an earring of gold.
Right, right. So the Lord gave him twice as much as he had before, right? So he doubled him up, right? Right? For staying dedicated, repenting, right? He turned his captivity when he prayed for his friends, right?
So the Lord blessed the latter end of Job more than his beginnings.
Mm-hmm.
For he had 14,000 sheep and 6,000 camels, and 1,000 yoke of oxen, and 1,000 she asses.
Hmm.
He also had 7 sons and 3 daughters. And he called the name of the first Jemima.
Was it Jemima?
Jemima. Yeah, Jemima.
You remember the Jemima,
Jemima syrup.
the syrup? Yeah,
Yeah,
ain't Jemima. Yeah.
Jemima. And the name of the second Kizia,
Hmm.
and the name of the third Kernapaputch.
Yeah, that's a hard one, man.
Karen Hapaputch.
It says Karen Hapooch.
Pooch. Karen
Karen
Hapooch.
Hapooch. Yeah. Hmm.
Karen Hapooch. Karen
Or you can even say
Hapooch.
Kareen. Kareen Hapooch.
That's a daughter though.
Kareen Hapooch.
Karen Hapooch?
Kareen. Like Kareem. The Karen is
Kareem?
like, no.
Yeah.
Karen, come on. Hey, this is a cold name right here, man. This is sidebar, but this is a cold name.
Karen Hapooch.
That's a cold name. That sounds like something you hear like them
A war?
nah,
Yeah.
what's them cats that be having them names like Armor Jot and shit?
Or like Megatron?
Nah, it's people that they wrap their heads and they have names like Armor
Oh.
Jot
Oh.
and them crazy names,
Yeah. Yeah, I know
right?
who you're
You know what
talking
I'm
about.
talking
Yeah.
about? 15,
15.
15.
And in all the land were no women found, so fair as the daughters of Job, and their father gave them an inheritance among their brethren. After this lived Job 140 years.
Oh, Salakia. So he had more wives, right? So he had more wives, double what he had, right? And he had more daughters and sons, right? And he gave his daughters an inheritance, right? With the among their brethren. So even the ladies got an inheritance, right? Which is cool. 16?
After this Job lived 140 years, and saw his sons and his sons' sons, even 4 generations. So Job died, being old and full of days.
Right, right. And I believe it says in Genesis that a man's years will be 120, right? Is that what it says? So he actually got an extra 20 years. Let's make sure that's true.
How come people only live to like 90? 90 now.
Bad food,
Bad for
stress. Right here, Genesis 6 and 3, it says, and the Lord said, my spirit shall not always strive with men, for that he also is flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. All right, I'm not sure exactly when that took place because after that, how long how long did Moses live for? I know Enoch lived for and Noah lived for a long time, and they're after Genesis 6. No, they're not. That's not true.
It was like some crazy number. Like, I don't know, 600 years. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, Enoch was the chapter before the Most High gave the limit. So yeah, he got an extra 20 years. All right, so we just went through Job and his feat of dedication, right? Um, enduring the whole thing, losing his family, losing everything he had, and then getting it back in double. All right.
Yeah.
All right. John 7. We're going 1 through 24. This is
John,
Salak. This is the ultimate showmanship, or this is the ultimate, like we were saying, feat of dedication, right? Okay. John 7 and 1 through 24, right? This is the ultimate feat of dedication, right? The ultimate showing of enduring to the very end, right? Right? Brave feats, right? Endurance, right? That it being dedicated, the quality of being dedicated or committed to a task or a purpose. And no one was more dedicated and committed to a task or purpose than Christ, right? Than Yahushua, right? He's a definition of taking one for the team, And that's not a joke. All right. John.
John chapter 7, verse 1 through 24. After these things, Christ walked in Galilee, for he would not walk in Jewry, because the Jews sought to kill him.
Right. So if you know the story of the Gospels, right, the Jews were looking to kill him because they were saying that he was breaking the Sabbath and doing all kinds of witchcraft and sorcery in the name of demons, right? But go ahead.
Now the Jews' feast of tabernacles was at hand.
Hmm.
His brethren therefore said unto him, Depart hence, and go into Judea, that thy disciples also may see the works that thou doest. For there is no man that doeth anything in secret, and he himself seeketh to be known openly. If thou do these things, shew thyself to the world. For neither did his brethren believe in him.
Right. So we're just laying the foundation for how he got to where he. Okay, so we're just laying the foundation to show how he got from where he started and then to where we are now, right? This is just a quick run through so we get just a simple understanding of what's going on. All right, go ahead, verse 6.
For neither did his brethren believe in him. Then Christ said unto them, My time is not yet come, but your time is always ready. The world cannot hate you, but me it hateth, because I testify of it, that the works thereof are evil.
Right, so his time hasn't come yet, right? His time to fulfill has not come, but your time is always ready. Like when you're ready, you know, to fulfill what you have to fulfill, which is keep the commandments, right? And spread the truth, right? It's always ready to do that, right? But his time for what he's here and sent to do has not came yet, right? Verse 8.
Go ye up into this feast. I go not up yet unto this feast.
Right. So it's not that he's not going, but he's kind of lagging behind because think about it. If you hang out with a group of people, right, and other people are looking for you and they know who you hang out with, they're going to expect you to show up with that group of people that you're usually with, right? So he's almost pulling like a sly move, showing up after his friends show up. They're not going to see him, pull up basically, right? Verse 9.
When he had said these words unto them, he abode still in Galilee.
Mm-hmm.
But when his brethren were gone up, then went he also up unto the feast, not openly, but as it were in secret.
Right. So he snuck into the function, basically. Right. He came through the back door or the back door. He came through the back door, right?
Back door.
He came through the back door, right? And he was
Why you say like
hanging out and chilling with his homies.
why you say like a white person? He went through the back door.
Back to the back door.
You're saying like you're some lawyer or something.
Yeah, you're right. You got to be a lawyer dealing with these Caucasian knights. Go ahead.
Back door. Then the Jews sought him at the feast and said, Where is he? And there was much murmuring among the people concerning him. For some said, He is a good man. Others said, Nay, but he deceiveth the people.
Right, because the people, they believe that the priests are the only ones that keep knowledge, right? The priests are the only ones who can, heal. But there's something happening here. Go ahead.
Howbeit no man spake openly of him for fear of the Jews. Now about the midst of the feast, Christ went up into the temple and taught, and the Jews marveled, saying, How knoweth this man letters, having never learned?
Right. He's saying, how does he know the letters of, the First Testament when he's not, he's not learned in the temple, right? It's the Spirit though. That's the Holy Spirit on him. Go ahead.
16.
Mm-hmm.
Christ answered them and said, My doctrine is not mine, but his that sent me.
Right. So his doctrine is the Father's. That's who sent him, right? So he didn't send himself, right? The Father sent him. A higher entity sent him. Go ahead.
If any man will do his will, he shall know of the doctrine,
Right.
whether it be a God or whether I speak of myself.
Right. So the will is to keep the commandments. To keep the commandments, the doctrine. And it doesn't matter whether you speak of it or the Most High speaks of it. It's still the doctrine of he who sent. Okay. Go ahead, 18.
He that speaketh of himself seeketh his own glory, but he that seeketh his glory that sent him, the same is true, and no unrighteousness is in him. Did not Moses give you the law, and yet none of you kept the law?
Mm-hmm.
Why go ye about to kill me?
Right. Right. So even when these people want to kill him, he's still down and dedicated, for the Most High, for the commandments, right? For the law, right? The weightier matters of the law at that. 20.
The people answered and said, Thou hast a devil. Who goeth about to kill thee?
Like they didn't know. Go ahead.
Christ answered and said unto them, I have done one work, and ye all marvel.
Mm-hmm.
Moses therefore gave you unto you Moses therefore gave unto you circumcision,
Right.
not because it is of Moses, but of the fathers.
Right. It was first seen under Abraham. What?
And ye on the Sabbath day circumcise a man.
Right. They're doing the works of the law, right? So it's righteous. Go ahead.
If a man on the Sabbath day receive circumcision, that the law of Moses should not be broken. And ye angry at me.
Are ye angry at
Oh,
me? Uh-huh. Go ahead.
because I have made a man every whit whole on the Sabbath day.
Right. He's like saying, I healed him, or I made him whole, or made him, correct, right? On the Sabbath day. Go ahead.
Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteousness, judgment.
Right. So they were judging him for picking corn, right? They were judging him for healing on the Sabbath, all these type of things, right? So we're just laying the premise. We're just laying the foundation, showing that he was dedicated even while being persecuted. He never turned, he never wavered, right? And his ultimate goal still didn't even come yet. Still going through the trials and tribulations trying to serve the Lord. Okay, Matthew 16.
Matthew 16, chapter 16 and 21.
Right.
From that time forth began Christ to shew unto his disciples
Mm-hmm.
how that he must go unto Jerusalem and suffer many things of the elders and chief priests and scribes, and be killed, and be raised again the third day.
Right. So this is his day is coming. Right. Go ahead.
Then Peter took him and began to rebuke him, saying, Be it far from thee, Lord, this shall not be unto thee. But he turned and said unto Peter, Get thee behind me, Satan. Thou art an offense unto me.
Right. Hold on. So just like we read about what Satan does in the book of Job, right? He's there to get you off your path, right? He knows what his path is. His path is to fulfill the will of the Most High, right? And Peter is trying to take him off that will and try to stop him from doing his dedicated duty because he has to do this. He knows this. He has to do this, right? So that's he called him Satan because that's what Satan does. He tries to take you off your proper course and try to take you somewhere else, take you, so-called, sanctuary or whatever you want to call it. Go ahead. For thou.
For thou savorest not the things that be of God.
Right. You're not savoring the things that be of the Lord. You're savoring what you feel is right. Right. See, what might be of the Lord might not feel good or might not seem like the best thing for you. Right. It didn't seem like the best thing for Job for his children to die and for him to lose all his cattle. That didn't seem like the best thing for him. Right. But he got not only that, a real understanding of the Most High, right? And he got everything back times two, and he got 20 years added to the max allowed time for a man to live, according to Genesis 6. I believe it's verse 3, right? 120, he got 140. So go ahead.
Those that be of men. Then said Christ unto his disciples, If any man will come after me, let him deny himself,
Hmm.
and take up his cross and follow me.
Right, deny himself. Go ahead.
For whosoever will save his life shall lose it,
Hmm.
and whosoever will lose his life for my sake shall find it.
So it's like you can't even be overly dedicated to your own life. I mean, you gotta dedicate yourself to things like work, making a career and a way for yourself to live in the world, but you can't overly dedicate yourself to the world. You have to overly dedicate yourself to the Most High, right? You understand that? One has to have a higher balance, right? The Most High and keeping the commandments has to be here, right? Go ahead. Where you at?
26.
Go ahead.
For what is a man profited if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Or what
Mhm.
shall a man give in exchange for his soul?
Right. You can't give anything to the Most High for your soul. Like, hey, Lord, instead of me doing this, let me give you this pot of gold and let me take my soul and do what I want to do. You can't do that. Go ahead.
For the Son of Man shall come in the glory of his Father with his
Hmm.
angels, and then he shall reward every man according to his works.
His dedication for his works, right? You're getting rewarded. Every man is going to be awarded to his works. That's his dedication. Okay? That's you multiplying your pound, basically. Right? I
Mhm.
think there's what's the other one we did? Not multiplying your pound. Man, it's all good. Go ahead. 28.
Really I say unto you, there be some standing here which shall not taste of death, till they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom.
Hmm. The real death. In conclusion, remember, we're talking about Christ being dedicated, right? This is the conclusion of the whole thing. This is the ultimate feat of dedication. Matthew 24, 1 through 14.
Matthew 24 and 1. And Christ went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him for to shew him the buildings of the temple.
Hmm.
Christ said unto them, See ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down.
Right. He's talking about, of course, the temple, right? He's just prophesying. Go ahead.
And he sat up, and as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming, and of the end of the world? And Christ answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet.
Right. So we see that, we see rumors of World War III and all kind of things, right? You got Russia with the supersonic missiles that can't be touched. All kind of things going on, right? So the time is fitting now. Verse 7,
And Christ answered and said unto them,
Salak. I believe you're
Oh,
verse 7.
verse 7. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines, and pestilence, and earthquakes in divers places.
Diverse places.
Oh, diverse?
Yeah.
Where's the E at?
Or diverse places. Salak, yeah.
All these, all these are the beginning of sorrows.
Right, right. So nations hasn't exactly risen against nation. When someone rises up against someone, that's like attempt to take someone over. You're almost like bucking up your chest, right? China almost seems to do that, right? China almost seems to do that. A nation that has definitely risen against another nation is Ukraine and Russia, right? Ukraine has risen, you know, and decided to go to war with Russia. They're having a bad time, you know. Without the help of the United States, they would have been stomped out, teeth all over the place. All right, go ahead.
14,
I believe you're
13,
on,
8,
no, you're on
9.
9.
Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake.
Right. So it's telling you about a time that's going to happen, and you shall be delivered up, and you will be hated for the Most High or for Christ's sake, right? But remember, it's about being dedicated. It's enduring to the end. Go ahead, your 10.
And then shall many be offended,
Mm-hmm.
and shall betray one another,
Mm-hmm.
and shall hate one another,
Right.
and many false prophets shall rise, and shall deceive many.
Right. You got, false prophets saying that the Most High and Christ are the same person, right? You know, how can the Creator and the created be equal, right? Christ is a creation, right? That's the light. He was created. How can he be greater than what created him? Okay, go ahead. Or equal to what created him, right? Go ahead. 12.
12. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold.
Right. So sin will be everywhere, right? And people are not going to have that brotherly love. They're not going to have the brotherhood. Go ahead.
But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved.
Right. He that is dedicated shall endure to the end. The same shall be saved, right? Go ahead.
And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations. And then the end should come.
Right, because within all nations are the 12 tribes of Israel, right? So it has to go to all nations because all the tribes are scattered abroad to all the nations. Okay, so the conclusion of Christ's feat of dedication. Go ahead.
Matthew 26 and 36. And come Christ with them unto a place called Gethsemane,
There you go.
and saith unto the disciples, sit ye here, while I go and pray yonder.
Right, so you're saying, hey, brother, sit right here. I'm going to go pray, right? Go ahead.
And he took with him Peter and the two sons of Zebedee,
Yep.
and began to be sorrowful and very heavy.
Right, so Christ was like, oh, man, it's coming, right? Imagine the day you're about to die, right? The day has came and you know it's coming. It's about to happen. It's Passover, right? It's the night Passover. They ate the lamb. Tomorrow's Feast of Unleavened Bread or whatnot. He's like, man, he's sorrowful and very heavy, right? Because remember, Christ is a man just like me and you, right? Well, you're a young man, right? But soon to be a grown man, right? Lord willing, you'll make 33 and beyond, right? But, he's sorrowful and very heavy. Go ahead.
Then saith he unto them, my soul is exceeding sorrowful, even unto death. Tarry ye here, and watch with me. He went a little further, and fell on his face, and prayed, saying, O my Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass from me.
Hold on. So this is Christ praying to the Father, right? And he's asking the Father if it be possible, let this cup pass from me. What's the cup? Right? That's his lot, right? That's what he has to go through. That's what's his destiny is, right? He has to be put on the cross to die for the sins of the nation, right? That's what he's asking to be passed from him, right? It's like, you know, that's something, man. You gotta let that marinate. He's praying, Christ is praying to the Father and asking if he can let him pass from this. Like, let this pass me over, right? And that tells me he's a man just like the rest of us. But yet and still he stayed dedicated. What did he say?
Nevertheless, not as I will, but as thou wilt.
Right, as the Most High will, as the Father will. So he said, nevertheless, if it's not to be, if you're not gonna let it pass, and don't let it be my will, but let it be your will, right? But thou will. Whose will? The Father. He's saying Let it be your will. That's heavy, man. That's dedicated to give your life for people who don't even believe in you, for people who want to kill you for no reason, because they don't understand and they don't want to understand, you know. A lot of people today go through the same thing, trying to bring the word out. People don't want to hear them. They want to cut them off. They want to say crazy stuff about them behind closed doors and with open doors, right? Because they don't understand. They don't understand Christ. All right, last verse, Ephesians 6 and 10.
Ephesians chapter 6, verse 10. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil.
Right, right. It's all about being dedicated, right? It's all about doing the most high wills and not your will, just as Christ said. Go ahead.
For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principal, principal, principalities.
Right. Principalities, right? So
Principalities.
so things that are working in the background, things you can't really see, right? You're working against cultures and mindsets, really. You're working against uh, television programming and musical programming, right? Sound waves, stuff like you're working against stuff like that. Go ahead.
Against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places.
Right. People who sit behind, sit around round tables and they think of ways to keep the children of Israel at a lower vibration, right? For lack of a word, right? To keep you at your lowest base state, to keep you chanting songs over and over again. Go ahead, 13.
Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all, to stand.
Right, having done all to stand. Right? That's what you got to do. You got to done it all to stand. Right? What does that mean? You got to go through things, right? You got to have trials and tribulations. You got to perform the knowledge that you have gained through studying, through the Spirit, right? Through the people around you who teach you, through your own mistakes. You gotta perform the knowledge, which in turn becomes wisdom. All right. 14.
Stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth,
Right, with the commandments.
and having on the breastplate of righteousness,
Mm-hmm.
and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked, and take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit.
Right. The shield of faith is what blocks you, right? Let's say you're on attack, right? The faith, you might not see something coming, but you you believe that you got this, right? You might not see it coming. It might be a blind side. You got your shield on this side, and you got your blade on this side, right? And you over there poking you, right? You on him, and then you got another demon coming from this side, but you got your shield up, right? That's like faith. That's like blind. That's like the blind faith that you can't even see, but it's there. It's to your benefit. That's your shield, right? And then you turn to your left, and you get his you getting him with the word.
I don't think it'd be, I think it'd just be one.
Hey, I'm doubling up. Okay, I'm double tapping.
I don't think they do that in war. They don't double tap in war.
Oh,
It's just one.
hey, double tap is the standard. Double tap is the standard. Yeah, make sure he out of here. 19.
And for me, that utterance may be given unto me, that I may open my mouth boldly to make known the mystery of the gospel, for which I am an ambassador in bonds, that therein I may speak boldly as I ought to speak.
Right. That was it with that, man. Bring it out one more time.
20.
19?
And for me, that utterance may be given unto me, that I may open my mouth boldly to make known the mystery of the gospel,
Right.
for which I am an ambassador in bonds, that therein I may speak boldly as I ought to speak.
Right. An ambassador in bonds, right? Because we're still subject unto sin, but we're still an ambassador for the Most High, right? An ambassador for Christ and the commandments. And we speak boldly as that, right? Proudly, we boast in Christ. Straight up. Hey, if Christ is it, if look, man, if anything can be put on Christ, I'm gonna put it on Christ, man. When it comes to sacrifices for the temple, that's on Christ, right? Ain't no temple anyway, so we stand boldly in Christ with all things. We keep our faith in Christ and the Most High, right? Faith in Christ that He died for the sins of the people, right? In the faith that the Most High is the one true God, Creator of heaven and earth, right? And with that, we say all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High God Yahweh. Until next time, Shalom.
Shalom.